All right, salutations and warmest regards, friends. This is your old pal CK Blackwood back again with another interview. This is actually somebody else I met at the massive protest. You remember that? So this is Adele, Ciotti, and her father Eric. Guys, welcome to my world. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so Adele is absolutely fantastic young lady. She really gives me hope for the future, same as Lola did, right? So I guess first let's start off by having you both introduce yourselves. Tell whatever you want to share to my world to my viewers about yourselves. Why don't you go first, Eric?
I'm Eric Ciotti. I'm Adele's dad. I also have two other kids. I'm a landscaper by trade.
Good work. That's good work.
I'm Adele Ciotti. I just do school. That's pretty much me. And
Yeah, she's 13. She's 13 years old, right?
yeah, I turned 13 in like 6 days actually.
Oh, so you're not even 13 yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. All right. I thought she was 13 this whole time. All right. Good interviewer, right?
I know, right?
I'm the master interviewer.
God.
So, okay. So why don't I guess why don't we just jump right into it? Why don't you tell me about what you were telling me about at the protest? What happened with your school?
So I came in. I was super excited. It was right before Halloween. And I ordered a gay pride flag because I was just like going as like a rainbow for Halloween. I know, how original. But anyways, so I was super excited. I got this gay pride flag. And so I wanted to wear it to school because like, why wouldn't I? So I wore it to school and they basically were like, you can't have flags at school. And I came home and I was super sad, but I didn't want to get in trouble because I was just like, I don't feel like fighting this. I'll let my dad take care of it. So I was like, all right. I told my dad what happened and he was like pissed. Like he was so mad. He was like, oh, well, they can't do this. So basically I'll let him take over like what he did as a parent. And
Yeah, so what exactly did she tell you, and what were your feelings and your response?
She came home and she told me that she was wearing the flag and that the teacher told her that she wasn't allowed to wear it. And I asked her what the reasoning was behind it, and the teacher's only reasoning behind it was that they were not allowed to wear flags, was what she had said. That's what Adele told me. So I told her to go ahead and wear it the next day and make sure to walk past the teacher or the administrator that had told her that she couldn't wear it. And so she walked past her and the administrator told her that, you know,
So
she
it wasn't
needed
a
to
teacher, it was an
It was an
administrator.
administrator, it was the vice principal actually.
The vice principal, okay.
yes.
So she told her that she needed to take it off, and Adele told her what I told her to tell her, which was, you need to call my dad. And she said, well, you could take that off and we can go to the office and call your dad. And she said, no, my dad said keep it on and you need to give him a call. So the vice principal gave me a call, and the first thing that I asked her was why she wasn't allowed to wear it. And she said it was because it was a flag. And I said, well, where does it say that she's not allowed to, you know, wear a flag? And she said, in the student code of conduct. I said, well, give me 20 minutes and I'll give you a call back. I'm going to go and read the student code of conduct
Right.
from cover to cover and see what it has to say about it. So I went and read the student handbook and gave her a call back, and I said, you know, nowhere in the student handbook does it say that that she's not allowed to wear a flag. Actually, before that though, when I was talking to her earlier, I told her that I wanted to go and look it up so that I knew who to place the lawsuit against, and she said, what lawsuit? And I said, well, it's either against you because you're violating my child's rights,
Yeah.
or it's against the school board because they're violating my child's rights. Either way, if you guys aren't letting her wear it, somebody is going to be in trouble, you know. So when I called her back and told her that I couldn't find it anywhere in the student code of conduct, she said it was because she was wearing it as a cape. And I said, well, it doesn't say that she's not allowed to wear a cape either, but I get the costume thing,
Right.
that she wouldn't be allowed to wear a costume and the cape could be considered a costume, which I had told her when she wore it not to wear it as a cape, but to wear it as a dress or something to that effect.
Right.
So I hung up with the vice principal, and she wouldn't speak to me anymore. And she got the principal to give me a call. And when the principal called me, the principal asked me to, you know, said that she had talked to Adele, and that Adele was a nice young lady, and that, you know, she found out why she was wearing the flag and whatever, and was like, I'm okay with it as long as she's not wearing it as a cape. You know, as long as she's wearing it as a skirt or something else, then she's more than allowed to do it. But as a cape, it's considered a costume or whatever. And
Even though it wasn't in the handbook.
even though it wasn't in the handbook, she still said, I was like, okay. And she said, and I do reserve the right as a principal to enforce rules that are not in the student code of conduct, which it says in the student code of conduct she can.
It says that.
But I also pointed out to her that does not include violating somebody's civil rights, which this is clearly a violation of
That's
civil
right.
rights. And so she said, okay. She said, well, I'm going to allow her to wear it. And she said, unless it becomes a problem. And I said, well, what kind of problem could it become?
Yeah.
I don't see what kind of problem it could possibly become. And she said, well, the students used to wear these silly bands to school. And that became a problem because the other students would go up and pop them on their wrist. And I said, well, that sounds like a bullying problem, not the student wearing that item that's a problem,
Yeah.
but a bullying problem. You guys chose to deal with it by attacking the victim as opposed to the perpetrator
It's a
of the
big problem
problem.
these days.
And I said, as far as I can see, the only issue that you would run into is another student violating my child's civil rights. And if that's what it is, and they are teasing her or messing with her, you by God better be on them and punishing them and not doing anything to my student. I said, so outside of that realm, I don't see anything that we should ever have to discuss this again. She's like, okay, Mr. Ciotti, you have a good day. So,
They politicianed him.
yeah.
That's just typical. So, okay, so why don't you give a shout out to the name of that school?
Greenwood Lakes Middle School.
Greenwood Lakes Middle School. Do you know the name of the principal?
It was Dean Miss Waller.
That's who
Miss Ball.
initiated
Okay.
the
Yeah.
contact.
Okay, so that was the vice principal?
That was
Yeah.
the dean or vice principal that
Yeah.
started.
What
it,
about the
and
principal? Do you know the name?
Her name is Breezy Erickson.
Breezy Erickson. Breezy Erickson, okay.
Which I've dealt with her a couple of times, and she's been pretty easy to deal with.
Okay, so were the issues related to
The
rights
dean.
versus,
No,
political
just
or social
just
stances
more like her student rights, being in school and like a teacher messing with her about stuff that they shouldn't.
oh,
you know. I
do you
mean,
want to talk a
those
little bit
kind of
about that?
things.
Or?
Well, I
I
feel
don't know if
like
that's relevant, but.
Yeah, no.
I feel like she like has it out for me now.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Everything I
The
do
dean.
because
Well,
I'm sure that the principal was not happy with her after this.
oh yeah, no, and
you know?
rightfully so. I mean,
Yeah. So now whenever I do anything, it's like she doesn't want to deal with me, but she's still gonna give me like crap over.
She doesn't want to deal with her because she doesn't want to deal with me, and her answer to her every time is call my
Call
dad.
my dad, and then she's
It's
like,
like, okay, I'm
She's-
done.
Okay,
I'm not
so,
calling
but I mean,
dad.
because you can get that for retaliation, you know, so be sure and stick with that. I mean, I'm sure you knew that already. But,
same thing happens at my brother's school all the time. No
So-
one wants to deal with us.
oh, really? The whole family's blacklisted. All right, yeah, they're such evil people. All right, so Adele, how many times would you say you've seen people wearing American flags at your school?
None, actually. And the only time, that's actually what she's told me. She was like, you're not allowed to wear any other flag other than an American flag.
I was going to say, I bet you they wouldn't have a problem if it was the American flag.
No.
And I thought that that was so messed up because we had a Hispanic cultural month at our school where we have a huge festival. Like our Spanish teacher goes all out. We have a huge thing in gym. The band performs. Like I'm in jazz
Flags all
band.
Big
over the
thing.
place,
And
yeah.
flags are all over the place, and they never had a problem with it. Even girls wearing capes, like capes from their countries. Like a lot of people from my school are immigrants, so they all have like flags and stuff, and they never mess with them about it. And it just kind of shows how there's just like a double standard for things like that, and it's just really sad to see.
They didn't like what her flag represented.
No, she's a very.
And we have to wonder what does it represent that's so terrible, you know?
Yeah. Rainbow. Wonder what that's
I mean,
for.
so yeah, I mean, so do you is there a gay pride month or anything, or is there any gay clubs, LGBTQIA plus
I
alliances at
tried
the school?
to start a gay club.
So you tried to start,
Yes, I did. I tried to start a Gay Straight Alliance. I'm sure you know what that is.
of course.
And so
We all did.
Yeah.
Just like we all know the silly bands, right? Remember those?
Yeah, so I tried to start one, and I have a gay teacher at my school, so I automatically went to her, and I asked, there's a person that like deals with all the clubs, and I said, hey, like, can I start this? And he was like, oh, well, I don't know if we're allowed to start clubs like that because they can start controversies and like all this other stuff. And they were like, I don't know if Seminole County allows these clubs. And I was like, Lake Mary has one, so I don't see what the problem is. Lake Mary is the high school right next to it, in
Okay.
case you're wondering. So they're literally like right next to each other. So I was like, well, they have one. He was like, oh, well, you're gonna need to give me the teacher's name and like all this other information. It's like, why can't you just take my word for it or call the school that's literally right next to you? And I'm sure that like we have rallies at your school all the time. I don't think it'd be that hard. So it just never really happened. Like I tried to get it started, and
Did you
yeah.
give them the info?
Well, I can't really get it because unless I know that teacher's name,
Right. Okay.
it's, yeah.
No, I was just asking because I would encourage you to keep fighting that. I mean,
Yeah.
if you can.
Well, it was towards the end of the school year, so I was trying to get it for next year.
Right,
I was
okay.
trying to get it for the next year, but by the time that
Well,
I
yeah,
went-
you're in summer now. I keep forgetting. I lose track of the time of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're still going to try for next year? Or?
Yeah, I'm still gonna try for next year, and I actually have the name of the teacher now, so that's really great. And I have some friends that like went into high school that year, so they are gonna join that club, so I can definitely get information through them, which is really great.
So how did you hear about the mass protest?
Well, so my mom is on a Facebook group with like all of her cousins and stuff, and just one of her cousins shared this message through like a huge group chat that they have. And so, yeah, a bunch of our family was there too.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, because I don't remember seeing you.
I wasn't there. I was
Yeah, he
working
had
that
work.
day. Yeah.
Work takes up all our time these days. New America. Who else was there in your family? Was your mom there?
Yes, my mom was there. She was the one that actually took me. And
For the record, she did wear that flag as a cape to the protest,
Oh, yeah.
and I allowed
I know, how shocking.
it. Such a terrible person. All right, so.
And then I'm pretty sure on the other side of the road there was my cousin Julie.
Oh, on the other side of the road?
Yeah. So there was my cousin Julie and I think two of her daughters.
Yeah, for the record, we had protesters on both sides of the road, so
Yeah.
apparently your family was all in,
So yeah, we were just like both ways.
fighting both ways. All right. Okay, so you guys are atheists, correct?
Yeah, I would consider myself one.
I am.
Definitely.
My wife isn't though.
Oh, that must be tough. Is she religious or just
She's
agnostic?
not.
or-
She's not like extremely religious, but I would say that she's spiritual.
Yeah, she believes that like she doesn't believe in a Bible version of God, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the God of the Bible.
Yeah,
Yahweh.
she believes in her own thing. Same as like his brother, he doesn't believe, like they grew up Catholic, so they don't believe, like my uncle doesn't believe.
We both served time in Catholic school.
So very much worse than a prison sentence even. He means what he says when he says serve time.
Flicked off a nun to get kicked out of that one.
Oh, did you really?
Yes.
Sir, I gotta give you a pound for that one. Was it just to get kicked out? You were just trying to?
No, it was just to get kicked out. I was trying to get kicked out because my parents wanted me to go. My brother went through 12 years of Catholic school, so I was in an 8-year school, and then they were going to send me to high school.
Were you there for 8 years?
Yeah, I was there for I was there for 7 years. I got myself kicked
Yeah,
out.
right. So 1 year early. Okay. So,
So,
I would guess I would say, what's the craziest thing you saw there or you experienced there? If it isn't hard to talk about.
Really wasn't that crazy. I mean, it was.
Because I'm still iffy on the Catholics. You know, I don't know. Some of them seem not to really believe; they just keep it for the traditional aspect, and others seem to really believe. So
It was
I'm not really
definitely.
sure.
I mean, I was baptized, confirmed. I was an altar
And
boy.
confirmed,
I was an
okay.
altar boy. I mean, I survived well.
as long as
Uh,
nothing
Went
happens.
through hell and back,
But
as some might
but I
say.
got kicked out because I wanted to go to an auto mechanics program, and I wanted to know some kids. It was in the high school, in Lyman High School. I wanted to go to their auto mechanics program, and in order to do that, I needed to get myself kicked out of Catholic school so that my parents would know that I was serious about it, and so that I would know some people in middle school before I went into high school. I would have some friends, and so I did it in middle school.
Yeah, you should be proud of yourself. I mean, nothing like religion to hinder our futures, guys. Everybody knows that. Religion destroys everything it touches. So, I mean, are you guys still, I mean, I don't want to get too personal here, but I mean, as far as, the disconnect with you being an atheist and her not being, I mean, is it still?
We do well with it. It was an issue for a little while.
Yeah.
She didn't know how to deal with it when she first. We were together for a very long time before we figured it out because neither
Right.
one of us really discussed it, talked about religion a whole lot or anything. And then when she found out that I really didn't believe in any kind of deity at all, she wasn't positive that she could be with me after that. And I was like, well, wait a minute, what changed between yesterday and today?
You're the same guy.
I'm still the same person I
I mean,
was
yeah.
yesterday, except for you just know something different about me. So, and if that's
It's so
if that's the
polarizing. It's
decision,
yeah,
then
I know.
and so we work past it. It still makes her cringe when I talk sometimes, but
Well, you know what? Reality's hard to swallow.
you know.
The truth is hard to handle. So, Adele, would you say you've had any problems with, I mean, or do you talk much about atheism or religion in school?
I do talk about it, and it definitely got me a lot of backlash when I was younger. Like, people would talk about God all the time. I went to I would say I went to a rich elementary school, if that makes
Right.
sense. Like, I hate
So
to
did
be,
I.
yeah, they were all pretty much white Catholics.
Predominant white, yeah,
Yeah,
that was how I
which-
grew up.
Yeah, which I hate to say, but that is the truth of the matter, is that's the type of school that I went to. So when you brought up like when Christmas came around and people were talking about how close they were with God and they were writing essays about this, and I was like, oh well, I don't believe in God. I got so much backlash, and that was really hard as a kid because I already didn't really fit in. Like I didn't get my first friend until I think 4th grade, like that I really like was friends with, like that I felt like I told things to. So not
That you could be yourself.
yeah, like not having and she didn't believe in God either, which is really why we clicked, because neither of us really like had ever had someone like that. Like her mom believed in God, so it was just really hard to find people that were okay with even being friends with me. Like they would always, of course, like when you're younger, you go home and tell your parents everything. So when they heard that, oh, there's this girl in my class that doesn't believe in God, it's like, oh, well, you shouldn't hang out with her. Don't hang out with her. She's a bad influence. She's a sin. You shouldn't be hanging out with someone like that. So for me, that was a really hard thing growing up. Like, and even now, like, if you say you don't believe in God, like, that's such a hard thing for people to swallow, that, like, someone has different views than them.
Mm-hmm. And it's a testament to how religion divides us, again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, well, I've got past it now, I feel like, pretty well. I've just learned that, like, if that's really how people want to act, like, I feel like it's opened my eyes to that, like, religion, as much as it brings people closer together, it just shoves them so far apart. It breaks apart families.
It brings people that believe the same thing together.
Exactly.
It polarizes.
It's probably the
different
worst part
beliefs.
of human nature.
Yeah.
It polarizes.
It
Exactly.
polarizes
I said that
different
earlier.
beliefs,
It was
but it brings together. It really does bring together those people that are
Those who are
that
like-minded.
see the same thing, you know. But that's
you're not going to broaden your horizons unless
No.
you talk to people who are different than you.
absolutely.
So it's an interesting issue, you know, to how that's part of human nature, to be with people who are like you. I don't know if there's necessarily anything inherently wrong with it, but it's just you're not going to have any growth or change, you know, or development, unless you broaden your horizons. So.
Arguably, life is about experience, right? And you're not experiencing anything new if you're constantly with the same people, seeing the same things as you are. So.
And I actually had a really funny story. So, well, it's not really funny. It's actually kind of sad, but.
Funny in a roundabout way. We'll call it black comedy.
Yeah,
Dark
so
humor.
I'm in a group chat with a few of my friends, and we're all in band. So we're all like always hanging out together and playing music. Like it's actually a really fun time. But there's this one girl, and I'd say she's pretty heavily Christian. She goes to church every Sunday, but that's never really brought us apart until I didn't really know that. Like it never really came up, you know. And everyone else in the group chat is atheist. There's 5 of us.
Really?
And
she's in the group chat as well?
Yeah, but we never really talked about it. It was always just like, we didn't even know. Like, I knew one of the girls was atheist, but anyways, so I sent a thing about abortion, and it was about how, like, abortion should be legal. And I had no idea. Like, I just figured, like, whatever.
You just assumed, yeah?
Yeah, which I guess I shouldn't have done, but.
You assumed that other people saw things the same way you do.
Well, yeah, but I knew that my other 3 friends were, like, pro-choice.
Yeah.
So I figured that if we're all hanging out together, I guess I just never brought it up. And she said, oh, well, I just don't want to have this discussion because I'm in the minority. And I was like, what? A Christian being in the minority? Now you understand what it's like. Oh my gosh. Mind blowing. And she was like, you know how rude that is? You know how much, like, whatever. And I was like, you understand that I've been in the minority my entire life, and the moment that you became a minority, that's how hard it is for you? And she was like, well, and I was like, now you understand what it's like to be an atheist in a world full of Christians, where everyone around you is a Christian. And
The second 3 people are against her position, now she's in the minority and she's being persecuted. They love to use that word, persecuted.
they're like, she was like, I can't believe you'd say this about me. She was like, and I was like, I didn't say anything about you. I'm just saying my stance, and I'm not even trying to change your opinion. I respect your opinion, and I understand your side of the argument, because I was at that side of the argument at one point in my life. You know, so I understand that. And so, yeah, she just, yeah. It really affected our friendship too, and that's really sad to say.
I guess, I was gonna say, are you still friends?
We're still sort of friends, but like, it's not the same, because.
Okay, so, do you have any other stories about, I mean, related to that subject? You know, like the discord you found between your peers at school?
Well, another thing is I have a friend, she's an atheist and she's gay. So we were at this lunch table, and everyone there, like, there's a huge Christian community at my school. Like, there's even a club, and I think it's like Christian.
And this is a public
The
school?
Christians get a club?
Yeah.
This is a public school?
Yeah, it's a Christians
You
Athletes
want to
of
report that?
America. No, they're allowed to. It's the same thing as a Gay Straight Alliance. They call, like, you're not forced to go to that club.
Yeah, it's
you're
the,
just
it's
allowed
the,
to.
it's not, sponsored by the school, it's done by
It's
the
sponsored by
students 'cause it's a
Chick-fil-A.
club.
Of course it's sponsored by Chick-fil-A. Big surprise.
I've gone once
Yeah,
or
people
twice.
people have forgotten over the years how they donate to hate groups and funded the Kill the Gays bill in Uganda. People are remembering it now, but for years they forgot completely about it.
I won't eat there.
So that's, I haven't eaten there since 2012, so I would encourage
I was just
everybody else
involved,
to avoid
I
them.
was just involved in a discussion online that became a heated debate about funding companies that fund political agendas. And the argument from the people that say that you shouldn't do that was that, there's people that work for those companies and those people don't deserve to be, it revolved around the Home Depot thing, but
Oh, yeah, or Hobby
but they
Lobby.
were saying that there's people that, that work, thousands of people that work for that company that don't deserve for you to treat them like that. And my argument to it was that one person's, the man that owns, millions of shares of that company, his vote only counts equal to mine, but his money makes it so that he has influence that sways thousands of other people's votes, and therefore the only way to counteract his capability to do that is to hit him in the pocket. And the only way to hit him in the pocket, because I can't go and rob his bank or anything, is to stop funding the companies that are feeding him money, because he owns ownership in them, and that's feeding him money. So my money is spent politically by supporting people that support things that I support, and going against people that go against things that I think. And in doing that, I'm putting my money into another company. In this respect, it would be Lowe's or Ace or something like that, but I'm putting my money into something else where there are thousands of people that are employed, and my money is helping those thousands of people rather than helping the thousands of people that work for the company that has a political agenda that I don't like.
Yeah, it's not even just political agenda, it's that they're hurting people, with all their money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like with the Make America Straight Again protest, it was these people are calling for direct violence and trying to take life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness from people who are just trying to be themselves.
Yeah, millions of people.
Yeah, millions, yeah, maybe even billions at this point.
Yeah, at this point.
So, yeah, I guess also for the record, I'll let you guys know and I'll let the viewers know. Our next protest, if you haven't heard, we found a doctor in Winter Park who's doing gay conversion therapy. So we're going to be protesting them. That's going to be on, again, Saturday, August 31st. You guys are obviously, I'm sure you'll show up, or you'll bring the family. So yeah, and we just had Lights for Liberty too, and it's just there are so many issues going on. We need to get fired up about them. Because I actually read off in my speech at Lights for Liberty, I read off the list of companies, big conglomerates, and politicians, of course, who are benefiting financially. They're getting pecuniary benefits from that crisis, having actual concentration camps. So, it's a big deal. Did you have any other stories, Adele?
Not that I can think of off the top of my
She's
head.
full of stories. She just can't.
Yeah, no, right. Well, yeah, just related to this issue. I guess we'll wrap it up from here. I guess the way I'll end it is, I'll start with you, Adele. What's your message to any other people in the kids in the LGBTQIA plus community? Any atheists who are kids that you'd like to put out?
I would like to say that it gets better. Like, I know that you hear that so many times, but it gets better. As you get older, you'll be able to be around people that truly support you. And if you're in a community like that's super Christian or super whatever, and you're trying to get out of it, you can eventually, and you just have to work through it and find people within that community, because I guarantee you that there are people. It took me years, but I found people who really supported me for who I am and have allowed me to open my horizons, like, even more, like, help me form my beliefs. So you can do it too. You can find people who will help you along your journey. And if you're an atheist and you've got super Catholic parents, trust me, you can get out of that situation. And you may not be able to change their mind, but you might be able to help someone else realize what traps they're being put into. Like, you can do it, I promise you.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and thank you for that. you can grow as a person, and there are people out there. It probably doesn't feel like it, but there are people out there. And I guess what message would you want to put out there?
I
Just
guess
if to everybody who may watch this.
Yeah, that you're not alone, and that there are millions, if not billions, of other people out there like yourself, and that find your voice. Even if you need somebody to help you find your voice, find your voice. Stand up for yourself.
It's wonderful. Well, I'd like to thank the Ciottis again for being with me here today, and I thank you guys so much for watching. This is your old pal CK Blackwood, signing off.